Okay, welcome back to my channel, guys, and today we are going to be talking about Shining Nikki and how there are two servers that are related to it and why people are kind of confused as to which server they should play first. So I'm going to have like a little presentation here to do my best to explain what the servers are to the best of my knowledge and what you guys should expect. So first off, we'll start off with a message from Saku, who is one of the moderators for the official Shining Nikki Discord. And I'm going to go through each one of these points and we'll try to clear things up. So before we get started, S2 stands for server 2, and that is going to be synonymous, so like it's going to mean the same thing as the global server. And then EA, I'm pretty sure, stands for early access server, so it could also be server 1. So keep those abbreviations in mind, and we're going to start with that. So the global server will be released soon after the EA server, so there won't be too much of a gap in terms of progress. So this is what I think it means, and I did confirm with one of the staff of Shining Nikki regarding the progress, the friends, the currency associated with these two servers. So let me break it down for you. So in the EA early access server that is supposedly releasing tomorrow, this is sometimes called the Canadian server as well because it's really open to Canadians who have Android. So because I don't have an Android, I have iOS, I won't be playing on the server even though it's Canadian. So I'm kind of cheesed about that. So I could kind of play on the emulator, but I'm not, like, I can't be bothered to set that up again. So that being said, June 16 release date, the guild is going to be different. So you can have the same friends, so that's why friends is in the middle of the Venn diagram. The currency you will be using will be associated with your country. So again, so your friends list from the first server, EA server, and the S2 server will be the same. However, for the guilds, they will be different. So you can't have the same guild from EA and S2. It's like different. And then for the currency, depending on where your country is, that is the currency that you will be using. So that being said, the progress will also be different. So let's say you progress to chapter 2 in EA, and then by the time S2 is released and you play S2, well, you have to start from the beginning again because the progress from each of the servers are different. And then for the EA, again, it's Canadian, and S2, it's global. So everybody can play that one. And for the S2, it's Android and iOS, to my knowledge. If I'm saying anything wrong, let me know. I have just been very away from social media lately just because of just personal stuff, and I may be having some gaps in knowledge. So yeah, just let me know in the comments below and I'll make sure to clarify in the pinned comments. I'm going to tell you my thoughts and opinions later about these two servers and what I'm going to be doing, but I know for a fact that a lot of people, including my friends, are going to be on the S2 server, so I'm probably going to wait until the S2 server because a big part of Love Nikki is also the association. So if I can't be in the same guild as them, then it's going to be difficult for me to make progress in those aspects of the game. Next, we have bullet point number 2 and 3. So these two are kind of similar in terms of what it's talking about, so that's why I put it together, but just to read it out. Events for both EA and S2 will be the same in terms of when the release is and when they end. So there will only be a small advantage for the early access server for the new events, only for the first few events, and after that the pace will be the same. If you're confused now, don't worry, I have a little example timeline of what I think she's talking about later, so you have a more visual understanding of the situation. So in simpler terms, both EA and S2 will have the events both at the same time for the same event period, just that the early access server has a bit more time to prepare for the first few events because, you know, they have a little less than a month where they start before us. So of course you're going to fill that time with some events. And then for bullet point number 3, the early access server will have that one event pav before the server 2 release, but the early access server won't get a rerun of the same pav when server 2 gets the same event. So the next point, I'm just going to paraphrase it so that it's less confusing. I think what she means is that if you're not Canadian and you don't have Google Play and you are planning to play on the server 1 and you're planning to play on server 1 as your main server, then you will be at a disadvantage, especially as a whale or completionist, because you won't be able to access those few events that already started. Do you know what I mean? So like here, let me go to the timeline. This is a timeline that I kind of thought what she was talking about. If I'm wrong, I'm totally sorry, but this was the way I understood it. So early access server is on the top. There's going to be an event / pav, and this event will occur before server 2 is open. So by the time server 2 is open, they're going to have the same event. So event A, event A, event B, and they're going to run for the same time. However, some point after the opening of server 2, they will need to bring back that event that got released earlier on the early access server to server 2. So for example, this is not what it's going to be like, but for example, let's say at event B, early access and S2 will have event B running at the same time and same length. However, maybe they might run along the first event that was introduced in EA alongside Event B so that Server 2 has all the same events as the early access server in the end. But during this time in the early access server, even though that event is running on Server 2, early access will not have that rerun because they already had it, so they won't rerun it again because it wouldn't be fair. So back to what Saku was saying, let's look back at the early access timeline. You see that event / PAV event in pink. I think for that one, it's like before July 8th, right? So when the new people come on and want to make the EA server their main server, then they're going to be at a disadvantage because they won't have a rerun of that event again. Do you know what I'm talking about? I hope that makes sense. It's been really difficult to even verbalize what this is because of just like the server names and how they're interchangeable with so many different things. And yeah, hopefully that was not confusing. And lastly, this is more of like an opinion / thing that the community may want to do. So precisely for the reasons above, several whales and big players are encouraging and recommending waiting for server 2 so that we can turn it into the main server. So all the players will start at the same time and there will be no injustices and the game will flow properly. A server opening and everybody starting from scratch together. Which I agree, like I don't understand why there are 2 servers to begin with. Like I don't see what the point of the early access server is versus the server 2, but I did hear that it could possibly be due to some regulations with like Android in Canada or whatever, so maybe that's why there's that server. But regardless, I think I'm going to be on the boat where I'm going to play in server 2 because of the reasons I mentioned above, where a lot of my friends are playing on server 2 and I personally myself don't have an Android, so I can't even play on server 1 even though I'm Canadian. So there's that. And then the last point she wants to talk about is that other than that, the servers are separate. If you go to the server 1 / early access server and your friends go to the server 2 and make an association, you cannot join the association. The arena is separate and the competition is separate and the co-op is separate. So all of those are separate besides the fact that you can have the same friends list. So that's what a staff member of Shining Nikki told me. Your friends you can have the same, but it's just the guild and all the other things that I just listed right now that are separate. So basically a lot of things are separate. So talk with your friends, prioritize only one server because it doesn't make sense to play on both servers. Like if you decide to buy something on the first server, it's not going to translate over to the second server. That's what I think is happening. And then if you progress on one server, you're not going to progress on the second server. So there's no point playing the game twice unless maybe, I don't know, for pavilion events you want to pull more. I personally kind of wanted to play on server 1 just because of the 1 or 2 events that might come early, and then I would be able to make a video on it. But I'm like, you know what, whatever, let's just start together, let's just start from scratch. I don't mind waiting until July. And yeah, so one more thing that I wanted to talk about was that my friend Aluka, I don't remember if you know her, but if you don't, you can check out my YouTube channel. We did make a video together. She is basically the Momo of the Brazilian server, and she asked me to ask that Shiny Nikki staff whether Smile 1, I don't know if it's Smile 1 or Smile 1 or whatever it is, or if this is even the right picture, but basically it's just like this middleman for being able to pay for the game that Brazilians use. And then I asked him if they would be bringing over Smile 1 or Smile 1 or whatever this is over to Shiny Nikki so that the Brazilians can play without massive inflation costs in terms of buying stuff. And he said yes, it's in the plans, but it may take much time. So if you're a Brazilian watching this video, then know that the team is aware of this and they're trying to bring it over. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Are you going to play in server 1 or server 2? And like I mentioned before, I think that the reason why there was server 1 and 2 to begin with was just due to some rules and regulations. Not sure if there was another reason besides that, so let me know in the comments. And yeah, it's really nice to be back. Thank you guys for watching, and if you like this type of content, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all later. Bye!